Hi, I'm Mia Zachary, and I am so excited to have my friend Carl Powell with me today. I am a published novelist and a book coach, and in addition to being a friend, Carl is also a client. Carl Powell is a fitness expert, a motivational speaker, and the author of 21 Steps to Magnificent Living. Carl, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I am so excited to have you here on the verge of some major changes in your life. But before I ask you about those, I want to step back a little bit and find out, how did you come up with the 21 Steps to Magnificent Living? What
Well,
inspired you?
well, I always tell people what my books are about is living. So the recipes for magnificent living, 21 steps to magnificent living. I think that life is to be lived. And I think there are so many people that are alive but not living. And 21 steps to magnificent living was my guide to beginning my life, beginning my action of living. So I started to learn little things like being proactive, learning how to be responsible for the things that show up in my reality instead of saying, well, this happened or that happened or it was someone else's fault or pointing out the finger of blame, getting inside and thinking, okay, it happened, and if it happened more than once, there has to be something that keeps bringing this back to me. Learning how to not live in resentment, because so many times people let that resentment is like luggage, it holds you down, it's a weight. And if you let that weight hold you down, you will not live. So 21 Steps to Magnificent Living for me was simply my formula for living, and then I thought, well, this is such a cool way of looking at it. And so I just wanted to share my formula for the way that I got the God-blessed ability to live. And not everyone, I didn't realize that when I sit down and talk to other people and I talk about my life. And they go, oh my God, you've done so many things, you've lived so much. And to me, it's just like I lived. But then I got it. I lived. And so many other people, they're docile. Their lives just are stationary. They don't go anywhere. They don't move anywhere. I've lived lots of places. I've been lots of places. I've made lots of friends. And to me, it's just second nature. That's the way life should be, for me anyway.
I love that. And, one of the reasons I was so excited to work with you on this project is because, not only did I help you create your book, but you helped me create some magnificent things in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. This really is, not just your story, but it's also Carl's guide to magnificent living for everyone who picks this up and reads it. I'm really excited about some of the things that, you were able to do from this, but, what made you decide to finally put them all together and share them? What inspired you to do that?
I've been wanting to write the book for a long time, and I had it in lecture form, and I did it in lecture form for years. I did it at a conference in South Africa, and it was really well received. And I kept thinking, this is a really good formula. I've got to do something with it. And I kept writing down my stories and writing down my anecdotes and trying to figure out what exactly I was going to do with the book. And I just think that everything in life happens in the time it's supposed to happen. And so often we fail at things because we try to push or rush. So the first time that the universe tapped me on the shoulder and said, it's time to write this down, I listened. And so I just started really thinking seriously about, and I just said, the right person in the right place, the right situation will show up. Don't push, flow into it. And I met you walking down the hall one day.
That's right.
We just started talking. You told me what you did, and bing, it's kind of, my lights came on. I went and sat in my office for 5 minutes. I came right back out and said, can we sit down and talk about this? And it just turned into the book, so thank you.
And I think it turned into just a great partnership, and I'm so excited to work with you on this. And some of the things that are in here, you think, oh, I already know this, to be wise, to be honest, to be optimistic, to be mindful. But Carl really has such a great perspective and such great stories in here that I think even if you think you know it, read it anyway, because I really think that it will enhance your life, that you'll get so much more out of it. And I'm really excited. Would you mind sharing some of the things that have happened since you've written the book, some of the, the consequences of kindness, as you like to say?
My life has really been on upswing ever since. I tell you, I wrote the book never knowing what to expect. Was anyone going to read the book? Was anyone going to want to buy the book? My first big leap was when I got on Amazon, and that was really exciting because Amazon accepted my book, and so that was really exciting. So Amazon happened, and then television programs started to call. So I've done 5 or 6 television programs about the book, and I got to do national news one morning. I've got to do local news, all the things that I wanted to do. I've been on XM radio 3 times since the books have been out. So I just like it's taken my career to a whole different level.
Well, that one level that I am so excited about, it kind of wraps back to the change that we talked about. Would you mind sharing how that came about, the big step that you're about to take?
Well, in my life, I always bookmark things.
Bookmark, get it?
And Hawaii was always on my bookmark list. I said, I lived there for 3 years. It was wonderful, but then it was time for me to move to do the next part of my life. I knew it was time to progress. But I always said that's the place that I want to go back to. That's where I want to spend, the rest of my days on this earth. And I went there in September to work. And the first thing was I got off the airplane and I noticed my skin felt different and my hair felt different. Then I got in my car and I was driving and I just felt different. There was no stress on me when I was driving, and I was actually breathing, and I was thinking in the Washington, D.C. area, you're so much on alarm all the time with lights and sounds and people, and all of a sudden it's just ocean and palm trees and quiet and sunshine, and I thought, what am I doing? I should be here. The second day, I was on the island and I taught a class, and the general manager of the hotel that I was working at, the Ritz-Carlton, he came up and said, what do we have to do to get you here? So I went back to my room and I was kind of laughing like, yeah, I own a business. I'm not moving anywhere. That's not going to happen. And the next day I met a chiropractor and we started talking, and she said, well, I'm here on the island and I have a business and I would love to have you here so I could refer my clients to you. So then that was my second job, so it just kept snowballing. Everywhere I went, the repercussions of kindness kept showing up, and I kept thinking, this is the right time and the right place. So I think that when you have your antenna up, this is the right temperature, this is the right feeling, this is the right atmosphere. Because I tell people success is not a place, it's a situation.
Right.
And so you can pick up your situation and carry it to any place, but you've got to carry it to that place at the right time. Because if I went to Maui 5 years ago, I may not have gotten my books done.
Right.
So, so you always have to realize that everything happens the way that it's supposed to. Life is not just this moment. This is not the worst day of your life. This is not the worst thing that ever happened to you. You haven't lived your whole life. You don't know what's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to you, and don't wait for it. Wait for it.
No, absolutely
not. So don't judge every movement. Start to look at life as a culmination of everything that happens that makes you who you are, and then use that to make yourself strong.
I like that. I like the idea of life being a culmination, because that means that it's not just the negative things and the things that maybe you think are not for you or not meant for you, but that also gives encouragement that if you were to follow these 21 steps to magnificent living, there's all kinds of things that could culminate from that. And that's why I just think this is such an amazing book, and you're such an amazing speaker. You have such a great heart, Carl, and I'm so glad that this project came to fruition. I'm really excited for you. And so I guess once wasn't enough for you.
In the same
after
year.
you did that. So in the same year, I'm so proud of you for this. Not only did you finally write your first book, but Carl also wrote his second book, which is Recipes for Magnificent Living: Food, Friendship, and Philosophy. So you need to get a copy of this as well. Carl, can you tell us a little bit about how this book came about?
I started cooking with a friend, and I realized that cooking with a friend made it so much more fun. And so my first thought about writing the cookbook was making a thin little cookbook, maybe 20 recipes that I could give my clients for Christmas. Merry Christmas, here's a cookbook. Really. I went on Facebook one day and I just thought, well, maybe someone else has a couple of recipes for me. What did I do that for? I said that's the day that Facebook kicked me in the butt. I sent out the message, does anyone have a recipe for me? And all of a sudden, hundreds of recipes started coming in. My friends from all over the world started sending me this and sending me that. Some came in different languages. So they came in the metric system. Oh my God, we're American. We don't have the metric system. So I had to go out and translate recipes and words. But what I had to do was I had to call my friends. Yeah. And there were people I hadn't talked to in 10, 15, 20 years. They sent me a recipe and I would have to ask them, well, was it 2 cups or 1 cup? And it just became a conversation. How are you? How are your kids? How's your family?
that's
How's your life been? What are you doing for work? And I got in touch with everybody. And I realized that around food, friendship just shows up.
That's true.
And so while I was writing the book, I wrote the book with two friends. We all lost weight. Paul lost 22 pounds.
Wow.
Donna lost 18 pounds. I lost 14 pounds. All in the process of cooking.
I haven't lost any.
You got to cook.
That's the trick. Okay.
Which is all in the process of cooking, because now what we were cooking it, we were satisfied, one, just what it looked like.
Right.
And then two, smelling it the whole time that it cooked. You go into a restaurant, you don't smell it. All you do is they plop the food down for you. You watch your phone and you eat mindlessly.
Right.
In this situation, we were sitting there thinking, what do you think of this food? And which one is your favorite? So we even designed our favorite section. So we cooked all of the recipes that we got that we put in the book, and then decided which were our favorites. Some of the recipes we changed a little bit. Some of the recipes we looked at, well, how could we take a little bit of fat out, or could we add some agave instead of sugar in this place?
Nice.
So it was just like an act of love. It was so much fun. I got to talk to my friends. I got to talk to my family. My family contributed some recipes. And it just happened. I think 5 months it took to write the book, and it just was a labor of, like I said, a labor of love. Every single day, I couldn't wait to get off of work to figure out what was I going to cook today. So it's been great.
That's fantastic. Well, I am so proud of you. In my job as a book coach, I run into so many people who say, I've been thinking about writing a book. I said I was going to write a book someday. And what's my philosophy, Carl? Welcome to someday. There's 7 days in a week. Someday is not one of them. So I am so proud of you for getting not one but 2 books done in the same year. This is fantastic. So I'm going to hold these up while you tell people where they can get their copies.
So you can get your book at carlpowell.com or on amazon.com.
So thank you so much. So this is 21 Steps to Magnificent Living and Recipes for Magnificent Living by Carl J. Powell. Once again, carlpowell.com and on Amazon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so blessed to have been a part of this journey with you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for inviting me into your life, into your world.
And thank you for inviting me to be magnificent in my own life, Carl. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you,
Appreciate
absolutely.
it.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Thank you.